What if English fluency didn't depend on grammar books, long vocabulary lists, or endless speaking practice? What if the real secret was much simpler, so simple that almost every learner ignores it? Imagine this. There is one single habit, one small action, that can quietly rewire your brain, build real understanding, and prepare you for speaking with confidence. No stress, no pressure, no exams, no fear of mistakes, just one habit that can transform the way you learn. This habit is so natural, so effortless, that you've already used it before, when you learned your first language as a child. It is the same habit that made words, meaning, and communication possible for you back then. And it is the very same habit that can make English fluency possible for you now. That habit is listening. Listening is the one habit that makes everything else possible. It looks simple, almost too simple, but it is the foundation of real fluency. Think about how you learn your first language. You didn't start with grammar rules, you didn't start with writing, and you didn't start with speaking. For months, sometimes even for years, you did only one thing: listening. You listened to your parents, to your family, to the sounds around you. At first, none of it made sense. The words were just noise. But your brain was already working in the background, collecting, connecting, and preparing. Day after day, sound after sound, your brain built small connections. And little by little, without you even noticing, those connections grew stronger. One day, the noise turned into meaning. Another day, meaning turned into words. And finally, words turned into speaking. That's why listening is not passive. It's not doing nothing. It's the most active and powerful training your brain can get. Every single second you listen in English, your brain is learning, even if you don't understand every word. Your brain is like a living network, full of tiny roads and bridges. Every time you hear a new sound in English, your brain builds a small road. The first time, it feels weak and fragile, almost invisible. But when you hear that same sound again, the road gets stronger. And the more often you hear it, the bigger and faster that road becomes, until it feels like a highway that your thoughts can travel on without effort. This is why listening works like magic. It doesn't just give you sounds, it gives your brain practice. Practice in connecting. Practice in remembering. Practice in predicting what comes next. Scientists know that when you listen, many parts of your brain work together. One part catches the sound, another part remembers if you've heard it before, another guesses the meaning, and another prepares you to respond. All of this happens in seconds, without you even trying. It's like a team inside your head, working together to make sense of English. So when you feel lost while listening, don't think you're failing. Even in that confusion, your brain is busy building, testing, and adapting. And with every minute of listening, the system grows stronger until understanding begins to feel natural. At first, listening feels like noise, like random sounds that you can't control. But with time, something quiet begins to happen. The words you hear again and again start to connect directly to meaning. You don't stop to translate. You don't pause to check a dictionary. Your brain simply understands. This is the moment when listening turns into thinking. A sound is no longer just a sound. It becomes an idea. The phrase "good morning" is no longer two separate words you need to translate. It is just a feeling of greeting, of starting the day. The sentence, "How are you?" is no longer grammar. It is simply connection, a bridge between people. The more you listen, the more your brain begins to think in English automatically. It's like changing the rhythm of your mind. Instead of forcing translation word by word, you let English flow in its own natural order. And the more you allow that rhythm, the more your thoughts begin to adapt. Thinking in English is not a skill you study in a book. It is a shift that happens quietly inside you, built step by step through listening. Every time you listen, you are not just training your ears. You are training your mind to live in another language. Listening does more than train your brain to think. It quietly prepares you to speak. Every sentence you hear becomes a model. Every rhythm, every pause, every intonation is stored in your memory like music. And when the moment comes to speak, your brain already knows the melody. This is why children speak naturally without studying. They don't memorize word lists. They repeat what they have heard 1,000 times. The same process works for you. When you listen daily, you are filling your mind with ready-made patterns. And later, when you open your mouth, those patterns come back without effort. Think of listening as fuel and speaking as fire. Without fuel, the fire cannot start. But with enough fuel, even a small spark can turn into a flame. Your daily listening is that fuel, silent, invisible, but absolutely essential. So if speaking feels difficult right now, don't worry. It's not because you lack ability. It's simply because your brain needs more listening fuel. Keep listening, and the words will find their way out naturally, just as they once did when you learned your first language. The secret is not listening once in a while, but listening every single day. Consistency is what turns small efforts into real fluency. Even 10 minutes a day is enough if you do it again and again. You don't need a classroom or a perfect plan. You can listen while walking, while cooking, while cleaning your room, or even as you fall asleep. English can live in the background of your life, like music. The more you hear it, the more natural it becomes. At first, it may feel difficult or tiring. The words may run too fast. The sounds may feel strange. But repetition is your friend. The first time you listen, it feels confusing. The second time, it feels lighter. The third time, you begin to catch meaning. And little by little, your brain adapts. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Don't stop or rewind too much. Just let the sounds flow and trust your brain to do its work in the background. Every minute of listening is like watering a seed. You may not see the growth today, but deep inside, the roots are spreading, preparing for something bigger. So choose something simple, something real, a podcast, a story, a short conversation, and make it part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth or drinking water. Because the habit of listening, repeated every day, is what slowly transforms English from a subject you study into a language you live. Fluency in English is not built in a single day, and it is not built through pressure or perfection. It is built through one quiet habit, listening again and again, until the language feels like part of you. Every minute you listen, you are training your brain. Every sound you hear is a step forward, even if you don't notice it right away. And one day, without warning, you will realize that English no longer feels distant. It feels familiar. It feels natural. You don't need to force it. You don't need to rush. This is not a race. It is a process, and the process works as long as you stay connected. So keep listening, even when it feels slow. Keep listening, even when you think nothing is happening. Because something is happening. Your brain is growing, adapting, and preparing for the moment when fluency appears. Remember this: the one habit that makes English fluency possible is listening. Simple, quiet, daily listening. It is not just practice. It is the doorway to everything else. To thinking, to speaking, to understanding, to living in English. So let this habit guide you. Let it shape your mind. And trust that with every sound you hear, you are moving closer to the fluency you dream of.